Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a book tag, and that book tag is the book buying tag. I was tagged by my friend Justine over at I Should Read That. There are 10 questions. No, there's not. There are 13 questions, so let's get started. The first question is, where do you buy your books from? So this is a very simple answer. Most often buy my books at Waterstones and then followed by Amazon, because sometimes you can't get the right books at Waterstones, at least the ones that I want. I also sometimes shop at the charity shop. There are quite a few charity shops just up the road from me, which is really good because I used to live in a village that had a lot of them. When I moved away, I really missed going to them, especially because people around me had really good reading tastes as well, so that's always good. Unfortunately, there aren't any indie bookshops near me that I can order from, otherwise I probably would be supporting a local bookseller, but because there aren't really any at all, I'm kind of limited in where I can buy my books. I don't like to use Amazon, but quite often they do have the cheapest prices. Not that that's a huge issue for me anymore, but sometimes, you know, I don't really want to spend £15 on a book. Question number 2 is, do you ever pre-order books? And if so, do you do this in store or online? If I do pre-order books, it's always online, but I very rarely pre-order. I only tend to if it's the sequel to a book that I've already read, if it's like the final book in a series or something. So for example, I did pre-order The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty because I knew that I was going to adore that book, and so I wanted to set my hands on it right away on release day. Another book that I recently pre-ordered was As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson, the final book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. That's also a fantastic series that I was really into, so I pre-ordered that book as well. I don't really pre-order debuts or standalones just because, I don't know, I like to see some reviews come in first. I like to see the price go down as well, and I know that it does help authors, but I have enough books as it is, so I need to be quite picky with what I am actually buying. Question number 3 is, on average, how many books do you buy a month? This is hard for me to kind of quantify because my book hauls often tend to like merge, but I would say anywhere between 5 and 10 at the moment. I am about to go on a bit of a book buying ban or restriction. I'm not going to stop myself from buying books completely, but I am going to be focusing on the books that I've already bought this year, and I'm going to be reading those before I buy any more or buy excessive amounts. I am going to be talking about this in another video soon because I want to go over the books that I bought this year and haven't yet read and then work my way through them, so I want to talk you guys through that and share it with you. But yeah, I would say anywhere between 5 and 10. I don't really go over 10. I think I would struggle to know which books I really want to buy because I'm only trying to buy books that I am desperately interested in. So yeah, I think I would have a hard time buying more than 10 books a month. Question number 4 is, do you use your local library? Yes. I didn't actually have a library growing up. Well, I did. It's a long story. Basically, I grew up without much money. I didn't have access to the library, which is where all of those charity shops came in. So then I moved away and I moved to a much bigger town, and the library there was absolutely fantastic. And now in the town that I'm currently in, it's also brilliant. It has really good funding, so it has quite a few new releases. Sometimes not right away. I mean, I'm still waiting for the new Samantha Downing book to come in because it hasn't yet, but that's fine. I don't mind waiting a little bit longer for books that I'm not going to buy myself, and I love supporting my local library as well. I like the council to know that I'm using it so that they carry on funding it. I like checking out tons and tons of books at once, which leads me on to the next question, which is, if so, how many books do you borrow at a time? So I think my local library allows you to buy up to 20 or 30. I'm not actually sure. I've never reached the limit, but I do often have 10 to 15 books out at a time because I just really like going to the library, getting a bit of a buzz from it. It's free, so that's fine, and it's also showing again people that the libraries are being used, and it's supporting authors. I believe in the UK authors get paid a little bit for each library checkout, but don't quote me on that. That's just something that I've heard via Booktube. I don't know if it's actually real. So yeah, I check out loads and loads at a time, and I do get through most of them. I would say if I check out 10 books, I'll probably get through 6 to 7 of them before I have to return them all. I am allowed to renew books up to 4 times, I think, so I can keep a book for a few months if I really need to, and quite often I do need to. Question number 6 is, what is your opinion on library books? I love them. Sometimes they're a bit gross. Is that what we're asking? But yeah, I love library books. I think it's a fantastic resource. I'm really lucky to live where I live and have access to a really good library because I know what it's like growing up without one. I'm really glad the people around me in my area have access to this resource as well. I do have a tendency to go a bit overboard. A couple of times people have commented on the amount of books that I've been checking out, and I've had to explain like 3 books will take me a week to read, so this is fine. And they always seem a bit shocked by that. So I think if they ever discovered Booktube, they would be having the time of their lives, really. Question number 7 is, how do you feel about charity shops second-hand books? And I've already touched upon this, but yeah, I shop in charity shops all the time. The ones closest to me have some good books, but I wouldn't say my reading tastes really align with my neighbours, I suppose, whoever's donating to these charity shops. Quill and I are planning on doing kind of like a charity shop run through some other villages nearby, and we're gonna have a look and see if there are any good books in those, or any, I don't know, antique pieces that we might pick up, or probably not antiques, like home decor items, I suppose. We found a really nice vase in one of the local charity shops actually. I was really pleased about that. Question number 8 is, do you keep your read and TBR pile together on the same shelf or not? No, I separate them. So I have 2 big IKEA bookshelves, which I have shown you in a bookshelf tour video, which I'll link up above. So I have my read shelf over on the left and my unread shelf over on the right. That one is double stacked because I have a lot of unread books, and I do tend to unhaul books once I've read them. So my read shelf is tiny in comparison, but I'm okay with that. And then Quill has his own like single shelf at the top of each one with his read and unread too. And then down here I also have a tiny TBR shelf as well. It's kind of a thinner Billy bookshelf and shorter. There are only 3 shelves in total, and they're single stacked, so that's a plus. I've always kept my books this way. I don't think I would be able to mix them up unless they were maybe part of a series and I wanted to keep the series together for some reason, but I wouldn't like to mix up my read and unread books because I like having a visual of how much I have there to read. And I like displaying my read books on my read shelf because the ones that I keep are often my favourites, so that means that they can be showcased really nicely, and I really enjoy that. Question number 9 is, do you plan to read all of the books that you own? Yes, I don't keep hold of books that I don't want to read, I don't think anyway, so I would like to eventually read them. I don't know if I physically could, so I think I have here with me about 150 unread books, and then I have a lot at my granddad's house because I used to live with him and I had to leave a lot of books behind when I moved out into a flat. So I'm slowly moving those over to here, but obviously COVID interrupted my moving plans a little bit. So once they're all here, I'll have a much better visual of how things are looking, but I would like to read all of the ones that I own. Otherwise I probably would just get rid of them if I had absolutely no interest in reading them. Again, whether I can actually read them all is another matter entirely, but it's definitely a goal of mine to get to all of the ones on my shelf. Question number 10 is, what do you do with books that you own that you feel you will never read, felt you did not enjoy? I unhaul. I don't keep hold of books that I don't think I'll ever read just because they're taking up space on my shelf, and then books that I didn't enjoy, again, I just get rid of because I'd rather have my books that I enjoyed displayed. I don't know why I would want to display books that I didn't like unless I was going to, I don't know, use it for a video at some point and then get rid of them. But I definitely wouldn't keep hold of books that I didn't enjoy because my read shelf is kind of like my happy place that I like to look at, and I wouldn't like to look at any books that I hated there. And yeah, because I have so many books on my unread shelf, or TBR shelf, I definitely wouldn't want to keep books there that I'm not interested in, and I have unhauled from there before, although I don't really like to because I'm open to reading pretty much everything. So I don't really unhaul books from my TBR shelf very often because I like to be able to read stuff. I want to read it all. Question number 11 is, have you ever donated books? Yes, I donate to the charity shops all the time, although during COVID they're on some kind of restriction, so I can't donate any at the moment. So I've got whole books of books over there that I need to unhaul and donate somewhere. There are a couple of kind of book bins in my village, in my town rather, but I don't think those go to charity. I think those might just be recycled. So I think I would rather donate the ones that are good quality to a charity shop, or my dream is to actually put a little free library in my front garden because there is kind of like a walkway to a couple of different schools, and I see a lot of teenagers and young children walking by, and I think that would be really cool if they could have a browse through on their way to or from school. So I'd really like to do a little free library where I can donate books to. Question number 12 is, have you ever been on a book buying ban? Yes, several times. They don't really work for me. I restrict myself for like a month or so maybe, and then it completely goes to pot. I prefer book buying restrictions, so I like to tell myself that I'm not going to buy more than X amount of books a month or every few weeks or something like that. I am quite good at that. I'm quite good at telling myself when enough is enough, but I don't want to go on a ban completely because I just don't really feel the need to, at least anymore. I tried to do it when I was younger, and again, I liked getting new releases, I liked getting advanced readers copies, and I just really enjoy browsing for books, and if something catches my eye then I want to buy it and I don't want to restrict myself. Question number 13 is, do you feel you buy too many books? No, definitely not. So I've actually started counting how many books that I buy, and I'm working on calculating how much I've spent this year, and compared to some Booktube it's barely any. So I'm going to be talking about this in the video that I was telling you about just a second ago, the one where I talk about the books I've bought this year and how I'm going to get through them and what my kind of goal by the end of the year is going to be, because I do want to read the ones that are coming in, so it's going to kind of feed into that. I really haven't bought many at all in comparison to some people. I've bought a lot compared to, you know, non-readers, non-booktubers, compared to your average booktuber who's buying maybe like 100 books a year, perhaps. I'm nowhere near that. Yeah, I don't really feel like I buy too many at all, and even if I was buying 100 books a year, if I wanted to do that, I'd be fine with that. For one thing, I don't think there's such a thing as too many, and also it's like a personal thing, isn't it? So who is to say what is too many books? I think if I were to feel like I was buying too many books, then I would start to feel a bit miserable. So why would I do that to myself? I would just stop. So yeah, I definitely don't buy too many books. I'm really happy with the amount of books that I buy, my book purchases and everything. So yeah, I'll stop rambling now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I don't know who wants to be tagged in this. I haven't actually asked any friends. If you want to do this tag, you should definitely do it. I would love to know your answers to these questions. If you don't have a Booktube channel, then leave the answers down below and I would love to read them. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye!